summer's over, there's room once again for quality movies at your local theater. Still, getting out to the theater can be an expensive and time-consuming hassle. Sometimes, just staying in and watching, downloading, streaming, or renting something is a much more enticing option. However, there are a lot of choices out there, so I'm here to help you out with that. I'm going to give you a list of 8 movies you should never watch, by any means. Unless, of course, you like wasting time and being very disappointed. And then after that, I'm going to give you 9 movies that you should go check out instead. So here it is, the 9 movies you should never, by any means, watch. Number 1, Enemy. Enemy stars Jake Gyllenhaal and seems like a cool psychological thriller. However, it's anything but. After an hour and a half of watching that shit, you'll have to go watch another 45-minute YouTube video just to understand what the fuck you just watched and what the hell went on. Does the symbolism kinda make sense after the 45-minute YouTube explanation? Sure. Would anybody have seen that without that explanation, without hearing the director's vision? Fuck no. Don't waste your time. Admission. Tina Fey and Paul Rudd, both very funny. Unfortunately, together in this piece of shit, they sucked. I thought it was going to be good, actually bought it. Surprisingly unfunny. Hardly a chuckle. Bindlestiffs. Now this one was very disappointing. Kevin Smith backed Bindlestiffs on his podcast or smodcast or whatever the fuck he calls it. I don't actually listen to the shit. I do love early Kevin Smith movies. Figured that Bindlestiffs, if he was endorsing it, figured I'd give it a shot and wouldn't be disappointed. However, I was. Red State, Kevin Smith's stab at a horror movie thriller, was okay. Subpar, but again, not nearly as bad as Bindlestiffs turned out to be. I kept waiting for something to happen, kept waiting for it to get better, and before it did, the credits rolled. My Brother the Devil. Well, every once in a while I try to venture out and expand my mind with some cultural flavor. I want to say this one was out of the Middle East or some shit like that. I don't know, I had to read the movie, and it seemed from the voodoo description as though it was going to be a decent kind of gangster, drug dealing, you know, older brother drug dealer, younger brother looks up to him type of movie where something good may have happened. I don't know, I like City of God, I had to read that shit. Kind of irrelevant. Anyway, unfortunately, it became more of just a homosexual themed movie instead of a gangster movie, which really kind of disappointed me. And yeah, don't waste your time or your money. Excision. This movie looks like a cool, gritty horror movie from the preview. You know, some outsider, twisted girl, you see lots of blood and shit, and it looks gory. It was a little bit, but the plot itself, fucking blew. Not worth it at all. This movie, Bad Milo, was starring Jillian Jacobs from Community and Ken Marino from Eastbound and Down. Again, from the preview, seemed like it could be funny. Plot seemed a little far-fetched, but after watching it, it wasn't even funny and the plot sucked. Don't waste your time with it. Meet Monica Velour. Well, that piece of trash just isn't worth it. I should have known when that slutty bitch from Sex and the City was in it, but I figured, alright, some kid hung up on a porn star, goes to try to see her dancing after she's old and washed up. Had some grounds for some comedic value. Any grounds that it had, unfortunately, were completely missed. It sucked. And finally, Meet Ruby Sparks. Well, I had a friend say he actually liked this movie. He is a bit of a hipster and seems to like things that other people don't, and dislikes things that other people do, as hipsters tend to do. I thought Meet Ruby Sparks was the biggest piece of trash ever. It was about this fucking loser who writes this girl that isn't even attractive, so I don't see why she was the lead. It's by the creators or writers, producers, I don't know. Little Miss Sunshine. Somebody who had something to do with Little Miss Sunshine also had something to do with this. Little Miss Sunshine, I would watch that again instead of watching Ruby Sparks. So with all that shit, what should you watch instead? Well, let me start with Cheap Thrills. Cheap Thrills apparently was a pick at the South by Southwest Film Festival back in 2013. I'm not sure if you remember Rusty Griswold, Mr. Papa Giorgio, but he was one of the leads in this fine, fine dark comedy thriller. Not so much thriller as it is dark comedy. It's twisted, it's funny, and I fucking loved it. I definitely recommend Cheap Thrills. Another movie you may not have heard of stars Doug from House of Lies. He's still some nerdy guy in this movie. This movie's called Crave. In this movie, Doug, I forget his name in the actual movie, but you know who I'm talking about, is this nerdy guy who always has these twisted fantasies of saving the day and being the badass hero. However, he's pretty much still the nerdy character he plays in House of Lies. Talk about typecast. Regardless, after you watch the movie, it does turn out pretty well. It's not the best movie out there, but nonetheless, it's got its fucking moments where it kicks some ass. This gem of a movie that I watched called Coffee Town, I highly, highly recommend. So apparently it's produced by College Humor, which obviously they have a great YouTube channel. Shit's all free. It's not the most highbrow comedy, however, it'll make you laugh your ass off. The three leads in this movie are Dennis from Sunny, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Stevie from Eastbound and Down, and the Jewy guy from House of Lies. Well, this is a low-budget movie, and it seems like a bunch of friends just got together, wrote this script, and did it as fucking something to do on a Saturday afternoon. It nonetheless hits the mark and is a funny-ass movie. Much more laughs than I've seen in Admission, for example, starring two people, and that was two people that are much higher-class celebrities, and that was just a big piece of shit, whereas Coffee Town is fucking quality. The Skin I Live In. Now here's a movie that I had to read that was worth every word. It stars Antonio Banderas as some twisted surgeon. I don't want to give away too much, and you're not really sure what's going on throughout. I mean, you got an idea what's going on throughout the whole movie, but there's definitely a little bit of a shocker at the end. I won't ruin it, but stick in there. Read it. Read this movie. You won't be disappointed. The second making of Old Boy, or the reimagining. I don't know. I know a song is called a remake, and I assume a movie is the same. Should probably research that. But Old Boy, apparently based on a Korean film. Same kid that saw Ruby Sparks was the one that recommended this shit to me and kind of got me on it. I probably would have jumped on it anyway once I saw it in Redbox, however, wouldn't have known it was based on a Korean piece. Never seen the Korean piece. However, the American piece is definitely worth checking out. Definitely worth a watch. It's twisted, it keeps you guessing, and it has a little zinger at the end that you're really not going to see coming. Maybe you'll see it coming. I mean, I'm sure people will lie and claim that they saw it coming, but I mean, I did not really see that shit coming. It's almost too fucking twisted. But it's good. Another great comedy starring Aubrey Plaza and Mark Duplass, whatever, the guy from The League, is Safety Not Guaranteed. Now, I saw the previews for this and thought it was going to be good. Sure enough, when I rented it, it exceeded my expectations. Another indie comedy similar to Coffee Town, however, this one seems to be a little more sophisticated humor. And definitely kept me laughing from beginning to end. Recommended. Another movie that Aubrey Plaza kills it in is The To-Do List. Great 90s throwback. Definitely a bigger budget comedy with a more well-known cast. Bill Hader, Rachel Bilson, Andy Samberg, all kill it in this movie. Bill Hader definitely steals the picture in more parts than one, but it's a great movie set back in the mid-90s or so, and just coming-of-age teen comedy, per se. I don't want to say necessarily teen comedy because I'm in my late 20s and still laughed at it, but then again, that's where my sense of humor is. Regardless, if you like that type of movie, the coming-of-age, kind of gross-out comedy, check it out. You'll be happy you did. The Way, Way Back. A movie I wasn't thrilled to see. However, I saw it had Steve Carell in it, and one day I saw it up at the library, so I figured I'd pick it up for free. What the hell? One of the best things I did. This movie really surprised me. Maybe it was because I had such low expectations, maybe because it was so fucking heartwarming. Like The To-Do List, The Way, Way Back also centers around a water park. And by the end of this movie, man, you laugh, you want to cry. I mean, I hate to use the stand up and cheer because I would never do that at a movie, but it almost gives you that feeling that you just want to fucking stand up and cheer because that shit is fucking good. And finally, 7 Psychopaths. Another movie that was out in theaters, but a lot of people kind of overlooked. The cast in this movie is great. I don't even know where to begin. You got Colin Farrell, Sam Rockwell, Christopher Walken, those three right there, Woody Harrelson. I mean, it's fucking phenomenal. The plot is great, it's funny, it's a dark comedy, you'll laugh, but it has that badassness to it that you like it. And it's just all around, it's hard to find something bad to say about the movie. So there you go. I hope this list has helped you out. Maybe it'll save you some time. Avoid some turds that you may have accidentally ended up watching. So get comfy, curl up on the couch, fire up the Netflix, the Vudu, the BitTorrent, however you watch your movies, and enjoy.